So question 5 says find the real solutions by factoring. Well, to factor it, we want to set this to 0. So the 3x cubed is going to be my leading term. The x squared is going to come over and be a minus x squared. The 147x is going to come over and be a minus 147x. That's going to leave me the 49, and that's not going to equal 0. Now, since it's 4 terms, an easy way to organize this is just use the box method. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and just draw the box in. I need some space though. Let me try that again. I'm too close to my problem. So come down a little bit. So make it big enough that you can write in it. So count up the 4 square. So since my terms are in order, this makes it easier. So 3x cubed goes here. The negative x squared goes here. This should be a negative 147x. Sorry about that. The negative 147x goes here. And the 49 goes here. Now, what I need to do is identify the greatest common factor. Well, the top 2 terms have 2 x's in common, so x squared is my common factor. Now, from here, we figure out what times x squared gives me 3x squared. Looks like I need a 3 and another x. So 3x times x squared does give me this 3x cubed. And then what times x squared gives me a negative x squared? I would need a negative 1 there. Negative 1 times x squared does give me negative x squared. And then what times 3x gives me this negative 147x? We could just see if 3 is a factor of 147. So 147 divided by 3. And we are getting this 49. But to get a negative 147x, I'm going to need a negative 49 here. So negative 49 times 3x does give me negative 147x. And does negative 49 times negative 1 give me 49? So these edges become the factorization. So this turns into x squared minus 49 times 3x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now notice that x squared minus 49 is a difference of squares. So that's going to factor into x minus 7 times x plus 7 times then this 3x minus 1. So notice this actually has 3 factors, x minus 7, x plus 7, and 3x minus 1. So for it to equal 0, one of those factors has got to equal 0. So if I set x minus 7 equal to 0, if I set x plus 7 equal to 0, then if I set 3x minus 1 equal to 0, that's going to help me find the values for x that make these factors turn into zeros. So what number can go in for x that turns this into 0? Well, that would have to be a 7. 7 minus 7 does equal 0. So if this turns into 0, then when you multiply, everything will turn to 0. What makes the x plus 7 factor a 0? Well, that would have to be a negative 7. So if this factor turns into 0, it doesn't matter what these values are. When you multiply by 0, the whole thing turns to 0, so that would check out. And this one, a little bit more work. 3x equals 1, divided by 3, x equals then this 1/3. So we'd have these 3 solutions, 7, negative 7, and 1/3. So if I substitute these solutions into the original equation, they should make the solution turn to a 0. So in my solution set notation, I should have a 7, a negative 7, and a 1/3. Make sure you separate them by commas. Okay, so that would be our 3 solutions.